Hello everyone, and happy Tuesday. Happy Learning Live night. Hope everyone is doing well. I know it's been pretty nice out, so if you are joining in with me live, I very much appreciate it. I see Melissa is in from watching us from a very damp Nova Scotia. Definitely, I will be sending some sunshine and lemonade your way. I have a thumbs up from Matt that Facebook and YouTube, knock wood, that's glass, knock wood on my head. Facebook and YouTube are playing nice, so everything is broadcasting well. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learning Live tonight. I've already had some fun playing. I've been doing some prep and some practice, and I am going to show you tonight how to make this adorable little pitcher shaker from Lawn Fawn. This is a new die that just came in the new release last week. I know Melissa is a big Lawn Fawn fan. If you are also a big Lawn Fawn fan, that's always a mouthful. Jot it in the comments below and let me know what did you like from the new release. I've done some coloring. I've got my little lemonade mice all ready to go because I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on the actual components other than the shaker. The shaker is really what we are focusing on tonight. I do have some new tools that I will talk about a little bit later on. Charlie has been busy on his 3D printer, and we've got some fun stuff. And you know what? I also made up a background that I'm going to use tonight. I saw this and I thought it was on Facebook. Excuse me, and I thought I shared it to our stories. But like I said, Meta and so Facebook and Instagram have been acting up a little bit. I went back to try and find this and couldn't. So I just had to go by memory, but I really love this kind of rainbow cloudy sky, and I think it'll also bring some nice sunshine to our days. So if you are feeling a little bit blue, get out your inks, maybe do some just cloudy sky backgrounds and everything as we are playing along tonight. Not playing along. As you are watching, you could be crafting as well, but we'll come back to that later on. I got to put it somewhere safe. I think I'll put it here on my computer. Here is our adorable little lemonade mice set. Like I said, I've got my guys all colored up and ready to go. And let me just put this guy into the spotlight. Let me dig out got my little basket of tricks here as well. I don't know. There just never, ever seems to be enough space for all the things I want to have out. So there's a close-up of our little lemonade shaker. The die itself is called Build a Drink Pitcher. And here is, the product photo that goes with it. It does not come with the face. I went looking, it does not come with the face, but it does come with the little fruit slices. It does come with the little ice cubes, and it does come with an extra lemon. So here is, let me zoom back out. Here is the stamp set minus those were the dies that I used to cut out my colored images. So a really nice little set. This little line here is so that you can have your fluid, have your liquid that's in the pitcher only come up so far. It's not filled to the brim. It is only coming up so far. This one I kind of imagined was pink lemonade. I wanted to use that pink in there and those pink little shaker bits. But then I threw in some yellow as well. So what are we going to be using tonight? These are the Bumblebee shaker balls from Doodlebug, and little secret, Darlene just put a bunch of these in clearance, so they are at a discounted price if you want to go stock up on the shaker balls in the various different colors. I did also grab, Lawn Fawn has just started coming out with shaker bits as well. So this is the clear sequin mix. Might mix that in there. And then I have a couple of things from Trinity. Trying to find the second one. There we go. This one I've used before, and that's what I used in this picture here. This one is called Pixel Pop. Whoops. And it's jumpy. And it's all those little squares. Like a little pixel square. But I really liked the colors of it and thought it gave a nice either ice cube look or that pink lemonade kind of look. So I used that. And this one here is called Bitty Ice Cubes. What else could you want for your pitcher of cold beverage but little mini ice cubes? So we've got some good options for shaker bits. We've got our little pitcher. And essentially what we're going to do is we are going to make the pitcher as a completely separate unit and then put it on our card. I call it a shaker box. So there are lots of different ways that you can make shaker interactive elements. You could use those full-size pouches from Waffle Flower and a couple of other companies. We've done that before. You could use foam strips to make a shape and make a little window out of it. But it's super fun to make a shaker that is a shape. But it's kind of tricky too, because how do you get the foam to go where you want it to? How do you create it so that it stays contained and not lose your shaker bits out of it? Well, the key thing that I'm going to be using tonight is the 3D foam creative sheets from 3L Scrapbook Adhesives. Now the pack that I have is a 6x12 and there were 2 white sheets in it. So I made the one card and I still have, I would say, more than half left of that one sheet, and that gives me a whole other sheet to make even more shakers with. Or they do come in a smaller pack. Now our smaller pack is there is a white and there is a white and black. The white and white is currently sold out. The white and black is still available, but I didn't think that would give me enough for what I wanted to do tonight, because essentially we're going to take this little frame die and we're going to cut it out of the foam twice to give us lots of dimension, especially these balls and even the little ice cubes. They can be quite tall, so sometimes one layer of foam is not enough. And so I'm going to show you how to use these foam sheets to make your shaker box. Also, you will need acetate, which I have stuck over here on my magnet board so I don't lose it. It's clear and it's going to go into hiding if I don't do that. So I have got it just magnetized over here beside me. And if I forget and I start looking for it again, guys, just say look to the right and I will find it. All right. Other things that I have ready and prepped ahead of time is just some cardstock, and we'll talk about the different pieces. This was extra. And then with these foam sheets, when you get your negative space, keep them all, because you can cut them up and use them to make your own foam squares for popping up your critters, popping up your sentiment, all of that kind of stuff. So let me grab those 2 pieces. I know these are extra. I'll come back to those. And let's just start building and let's just start playing. Over to my left, I do have my Spellbinder Scout. We are doing things that are small enough to fit into that. This picture is small enough to fit into that. So not a problem there. I do have that base and that stamp and all of that good stuff when we get to decorating and assembling. But we're just gonna get started and we're gonna keep on keeping on. So first and foremost, I like to think about building from the bottom up. So when you are making a shaker box, as I am calling it, you need a base. You need your layers in between, which include your foam and your acetate, and then you need your top. And of course inside it you need your little shaker bits. So our top piece is going to be this decorative piece. I think for the second one, this one I did in yellow. For the second one, and now I got to remember where I put it because I just had it. I have a piece of Cosmic Sky, which is my favorite blue from Spellbinders. Well, it'll show up when I need it to show up. Oh, there it is. It's here in my box. So I've got that little piece here ready to go. So we need a base. And what I have chosen for the base is I chose this light blue, which I believe is Windy. Let me just double check that there. Yes, I am right. It is Windy. And then I have my yellow, which is going to be my lemonade that's going to be in my pitcher. This is beeswax, also from Spellbinders, using all Spellbinders today, only because I have lots of scraps. So, you know, these work really well. You don't need super large pieces to be able to make this shaker box. Now, I do want it to be like this one where the light blue is kind of like the glass or the back of the pitcher, and this yellow piece is going to be my juice, my lemonade, my fluid. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to finish this off in that there is, actually I'm going to turn it sideways. There is our fluid, but there is this little die here that allows you to trim it down and create that kind of wavy look to really make sure that that the juice looks like it is not just a flat line. It's got some motion, it's got some oomph to it. And where did my yellow tape go? I'm just going to use a really little piece of my narrow yellow tape, Best Ever Craft tape, in order to hold it in place, because transporting it from here on my camera to over here where Scout is, I'm bound to have it slide around. So let me just die cut that out. Pop that over. Yes, my plates are well loved. They're a little bit dirty. I gotta make sure that I clean them up. There we go. Put my die back on my magnet sheet. I'm going to save the tape because you never know when I'm going to need it again. This extra little piece could go to cut out a lemon or something like that. So I'll keep that, as that's a good size scrap. And then I did have a little piece where it didn't quite cut through. So let me just trim that off. And I'm going to glue this right on top of this blue piece here to create that back platform. So I'm going to be very careful when I put my glue on. I don't want to come too close to the edge, because if I get too much glue, it might ooze out. And if this piece gets sticky, then you run the risk of your shaker bits sticking to that glue that you didn't even really realize was there. So I've kept a nice little margin all the way around. Now, I was talking with one of our shop hoppers that came to see us last week, Lynn. She invested in a powder tool, and this is another great use for the powder tool, is just really dusting everything down once that glue is set, to make sure that you don't have glue where you don't want it to be. So this is a good thing to do in order to let that glue set. So do it first, give it a couple of minutes to really secure itself. We'll set that off to the side. Now the next thing I'm going to do is going to cut this pitcher. Actually, you know what? Let's skip to the top and we'll prep the top piece, and then I will go to the foam, and then we can just go boom, boom, boom. So here is my Cosmic Sky. Because I know that it's going to be a really narrow element here, that sometimes the glue, especially with acetate, you don't want a lot of extra glue. I have put some liner sheet, which is just double-sided adhesive that is thin enough for die cutting. That's from Spellbinders. I've put it on the back of my blue piece so that when I cut this out, it is essentially turning my die cut into a sticker. So let me load that up. We'll get that ready. And then we will also get our acetate ready. When it comes to the acetate, you do want something that is thin enough for die cutting. So you don't want a super duper heavy acetate. Try to get something light. I just have a stash, so I don't even know, I don't remember where, like what brand it is or where it came from. So I apologize for that. But if it comes down to it and you don't have any acetate, you can use that plastic packaging from your stamp set, from something that you have purchased, as long as it is rigid enough to kind of create a nice flat surface, and it's going to work to hold those shaker bits inside. Just checking here if we have any comments. Please do jump in the comments if you have questions or if I'm going too fast. So like I said, this liner sheet has turned my die cut into a sticker, so I can just pop that out. Now this piece here has liner sheet on the back. I'm going to keep that because your liner sheet is precious. I am very, very frugal, or try to be very frugal with my liner sheet, and so I keep every little scrap. You might have little Christmas ornaments that you're cutting out of it, or snowflakes, anything delicate definitely has a place with liner sheet. Now, this one's being a little bit difficult. Let's see if I can pop this last bit out with it. It's not going to come out. It's being a little bit tricky. The paper is cut through. It's just the backing is not fully cut through. So I'm going to leave it intact for right now. I will just peel it off the backing when we are done. This piece, again, is going to go into my scrap pile, and we will be ready to use that at another time. Bottom is done. Top is done. We need our acetate. So here's where I'm going to take my acetate, and I don't need the bit with the curly edge. I just need this background piece. So I'm going to take my acetate, figure out how I'm going to cut it, and then I am going to trim just around like that. Because sometimes with that acetate, you could get impressions from your top plate, especially if they're not pristine, which mine definitely are not. I'm actually going to bring Scout over because I want to show this going through the machine. And just some things to be aware of with acetate. Acetate can be a little bit temperamental. Both my sides aren't the prettiest. Maybe for tonight I may grab some new plates. And by new, I just mean not as messy. That one's good. Yeah, let's switch these guys out for. Again, I like to make my plates last as long as possible. So this will be hard to see because, acetate is clear. Try to make sure it is nice and clean, though I know with my plates it's probably not going to stay clean. And I'm putting this on here, making sure that it's going to cover all the area. Put my top plate on, and this is one of the few times where I will go back and forth. If you find you're not getting enough pressure, you could always put a single piece of copy paper on top as well, just to give you an extra little bit of oomph. Or sometimes I find that my Scout isn't quite strong enough for acetate. You may want to go up to your bigger machine, which will have more pressure. Just for fun, I'm going to go back and forth one more time. And we'll pop this out. Let's see how this turned out. Okay, it's a little dirty. I'll have to clean it out. And sometimes you can just pop it out. Be gentle because the acetate could tear. And sometimes I find that no matter what my best intentions are, it doesn't come out very easily. But we have scissors and we have an outline now, so we can just follow that outline. Where's my starting point? Over here. Around that corner. Just follow that outline. It doesn't have to be perfect, but sometimes it just needs that extra little bit of help. And something like this where it's got long, smooth lines, there's nothing really delicate. It's pretty easy to be able to cut that out without too much difficulty. A little hair here. There we go. So there is my acetate. Again, you can't see it because it is clear. Once again, I'm going to magnet it over here on the right. So if I go looking for it, say, Sheri, look to the right. I'm not going to worry about keeping the extra scrap. I did my cut around on it before I put the dye on it, so we are good to go. Next up, the only thing left that we have to cut is our foam. And like I said, I'm going to do 2 layers of foam. So I've got my piece here, and because I had this from before, I'm pretty confident it's cut to size. This is another thing that you want to be pretty frugal on. So I'm just going to make sure, look, that fits nicely in that space. And I can go ahead and grab Scout. Let's load this up just like you would be cutting paper. Now it is thick, so when you go to put it through the machine, you will face a little bit of resistance. It's okay. Foam is nice because it'll squish. And once again, you may find that it doesn't cut all the way through the backing, much like it did with the liner sheet, but we will make it work. And once again, I think I'm going to go forwards and backwards just to make sure. There's 1 and 2. Okay, we're going to pop that out. We're going to move Scout. And please forgive me, my lights are a little bit warm, so the sweater's coming off. Okay. So, if I look at my foam, and yes, my dye is still, and this is just, it's just because the foam has adhesive on it already. So you don't have to worry about gluing this. It already has adhesive on it on both sides. If I look at it upside down, I can see we may have a little bit of trouble down here, but it does look like it has cut all the way through, so this should be pretty easy to pop out. Okay, hang on to that because we have to cut a second layer. So I'm going to just gently see if I can get this out of the shape so that all I'm left is the frame. Pop it out, gentle, gentle. That little delicate part is going to be probably the trickiest bit. Pop. There we go. So this I will keep, and I will cut it into little bits and use it as just as I would use a foam square or a foam dot. So that's always valuable. I'm going to pop out this little handle piece. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to leave the handle piece in because with this foam, when we are putting it on this piece here, we actually don't need the handle and we don't need the bottom. I don't know if you can see it there. There is a line here. That is for the base of the pitcher, but we don't need that for this. So it is best if we can just take our scissors. Now these are Spellbinder scissors and when you see scissors with this black coating, that is a Teflon coating that is really ideal for working with sticky things like this kind of foam that has adhesive on it, because it'll wipe clean much more easily than a typical pair of scissors. So I'm going to cut this little bit off. Try to keep the backing on it, but if you can't, then that'll be the first piece you use for popping things up. And then I'm going to do the little handle as well. And it's okay if the backing kind of pops and wiggles. We will eventually be taking it off. I'm going to try something. So for now, I'm leaving the center in here. The biggest challenge that I found when I was making my practice one was that because this outside frame is so delicate, you run the risk of it stretching and not going quite where you want it. So I'm going to try something. Maybe I'll even do it now, and then we'll go and we'll cut the second one. That way I know if it'll work for the second time. So here's the catch. So this is the back. I want to peel the backing off, but not off this centerpiece. I just want this outline, because I don't actually want this centerpiece to stick. But what this is doing is it's helping keep it rigid. And then again, please forgive me if my head comes onto camera here. I'm just trying to, maybe I'll do it this way. So face down, face down. This is the sticky side. I'm going to tuck it here. I'm going to tuck it over here. Oh, that went on really easy. Hey there, Angela. Yes, we love this Lawn Fawn set too. I'm not sure if you got this with the release, but it's lots of fun. Okay, so now I should be able to, and maybe I'll get my tweezers, I should be able to dig under. Is this going to work? You know, best laid plans, right? Okay, so it doesn't look like I got... Yes, I'm off camera, sorry. Okay, so let's just get this out here. I did not get that backing layer, but that's okay. We can fix that. I'm peeling that up. Come on. So this is now sticky. I got to be careful with that piece. And let's see if I can get that backing layer up. There we go. Ha-ha! There we go. So this still has the backing on it, because when we go to do the next layer, it will come into play. This I'm going to put back on here to see if I can save that as much as possible. I'm pretty happy that that worked. And that way you've got a nice smooth edge to edge. The second one will be the extra trick. Can we do the same thing twice? Let's cross our fingers. So, before I bring the Scout over, this is the remaining piece of that 6x12 that I had. I am gonna take my die and just put it here in the corner, and let's cut around it. Like so. It's pretty rigid, so you got a lot to work with here. And cut it close. If it does happen to bend or crease, no stress. It's really just the backing that's bending or creasing. And put that in your stash to save. All right, let's cut this guy again. Make sure it fits there. Get this here. All right, and my plate, and I'm gonna go back and forth, cut this guy out. Go once and back. I'm pretty happy that that little trick worked. I don't know that it would work every single time with every single die cut, but like I said, I really struggled to do this frame without it warping. So sometimes you just got to try it, because what have you got to lose? Just a couple of pieces of paper, which came from my scrap bin anyways, so I'm already in bonus land. And well, I am on camera, so I do have witnesses if the idea doesn't work, but that's all part of the game, right? All right, so again, looks like most of my cuts got through, so I'm pretty happy about that. Let's pop this whole thing out. You probably could go around with an X-Acto knife if you found that this really wasn't coming out. I'm just using my fingernail. It seems to be enough to separate what I need to separate. And again, if it gets tricky, feel free to just do a little snippety snip. Get these big pieces out of the way. Sometimes it just gets cumbersome. Don't throw them out though. You can use them as foam squares. And here we go. Perfect. So those are all my little bits. I'm going to try keeping this in again. We're going to cross our fingers. Let's cut out that excess piece. And try to keep the backing on it if you can. Cut off the handle. Okay. Wish me luck. So what I'm going to do is I am going to peel the well, it's not the backing, it's the fronting. Let's peel the liner sheet from that bottom one. Let's peel the liner sheet from what's going to be the top one. Hopefully. Okay, we're going to cross our fingers because this is going to be sticky on sticky. All right, going down, gonna line up this corner, line up this edge. This one I'm trying to be as careful as I can. Oh my goodness, I think I may have done it. And then give it a good squeeze. And then let's see. Can we get this center bit out? It would be really great if you could get it with the backing. I think I've got it. Gentle, gentle. Oh, that works so much better than the first time I did this. Perfect. And look, I kept the backing on and everything. So now I have my 2 layers of foam. Let me see if I can zoom in. See, yeah. So I've got 2 layers of foam here. I've got my layer of cardstock on the back. This still has the liner sheet. It's not sticky at all. And that's on purpose. We need to keep that on there for one more step. But we're moving right along. And I like that everything's looking very lined up. That is always my personal biggest challenge. All right, so I'm going to leave this zoomed in. This is where I am bringing my powder tool in. We want to get rid of any stickiness that might be around and might be inside as well as outside. Outside is not nearly as important as the inside, but we don't want our shaker bits to stick to anything. So I'm going in sideways using my little brush. Not a lot of bristles left. I think they got kind of pushed in. This does have like a baby powder inside, but I'm going to go into all these nooks and crannies, especially that pointy bit at the top. Go around my edge. And what this is doing is really just putting powder on the sticky bits so that nothing else will stick to it. This tool can also be used for stickers if you want to, pop it up. But you really do have to make sure that this liner sheet stays on the top. Otherwise, it's not going to stick either, and we need that to stick. I'm now going to go around the outside, though you could do this outside bit afterwards. Okay. Just take down all that stickiness. Okay. Next step is our shaker bits. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go right along this seam as well. So remember when I was talking about putting this together, there might be glue that oozed. It's pretty careful, but you never know. So that just helps take down the stickiness as well. Okay, so that's our powder tool. Shaker bits. I definitely want my yellow balls. I think I'm going to put some clear sequins in here. And you know what? I've got this whole pack of these little ice cubes. So why the heck not? I'm going to grab just this little tray here. I mean, I could. Actually, I don't need a tray. I'm just going to. With shakers, you can afford to be a little bit generous. You do want to have elements that shake, but if you're going to be layering multiple things, you want to make sure there's room for everything to kind of have its place and have its space. So I'm going to move that all here. Actually, no. Let's do this. I think I'm going to not do the sequins. So let me rewind a step. We did 2 layers of this foam, and that's because these balls are quite dimensional. If you were just doing flat things like sequins, you only need to do 1 layer. It's kind of you have to know what you're putting in there, but I think these are too big to go with these balls, so I'm going to leave them. I'm going to leave it out. I am just going to do the balls, and I'm going to do the ice cubes, because they are super fun. If I can get them open again. Here we go. And again, let's sprinkle them around, because once that acetate gets on top, there may not be a lot of room for these to move around. So there. And this is where you really have to be careful. Do not sneeze. If you're going to sneeze, leave your desk first if you can at all help it, because everything could go flying. But everything looks like it's moving nicely. Nothing seems to be sticking too much. I feel like I've got a decent amount. Maybe a little bit more. A little bit more. Oh, one just rolled on the floor. There's one over here. There's one over here. Okay. Here's the next step, and that is the acetate. So we have our acetate shape, which you can sort of see. It's sort of shiny there. Really make sure everything is clean. If you can, wipe it with a microfiber cloth, because that will also help knock down some of the static. I'm just giving that a wipe. All right, slow and steady. I'm going to grab my nudger. So this is a nudger tool, as it's called, from Spellbinders. It's just got this silicone tip on it. I'm going to use it to hold the shaker thing down while I gently peel off that liner sheet. Don't sneeze. Ta-da! And then you take your acetate piece. Yeah, and see, this is what happens because it's sticky. Holding the side of your foam piece is not recommended. Trying to line it all up here. Happy that my head's not on camera. Kind of roll it down so that now you have a completely sealed shaker element. Oh, that looks so darn cute. Look at that. And everything's contained. Now it does look like there were still some sticky bits, but no one's going to look that closely. Because once it's sealed, there's really no turning back at this point. All right, last but not least, we are going to come to our outline piece. And like I said, I was having trouble getting it out of this bottom corner. So now I can just peel it up. I'm going to use my tweezers. The release paper is coming off. And I am once again just going to do my best to line everything up. In theory, this cardstock piece is going to cover and hide all of our foam. And this is just gluing to the top of the acetate. Now, once again, you absolutely could use liquid glue if you so choose, but I find, and this is probably just me, when I use liquid glue and acetate or vellum or what have you, that's the time when I don't get it down straight and I get a big smear of acetate right across, or a smear of glue right across the acetate, and it just makes a mess. So having that liner sheet on the back just gives you that extra little bit of cleanliness, I guess is the better term. All right, now I had liner sheet on the back as well. So there's pieces here that are showing. This is where we're going to bring our powder tool back out. Get rid of this stickiness. Thank you, Cheryl. I love this blue, and I thought it just goes perfectly with the yellow. Very Mediterranean kind of color, but also, like you said, it's making the yellow pop. And for all of us who need that extra dose of sunshine or that feeling of summer. So now this is not sticky at all. Now this is not sticky at all. And we have our little shaker element. Do I have any scraps handy? Wonder. I think I'm going to cut. I think I want to cut a little lemon to go with this as well. So what do I have here in my little Scrapalicious bin? I do not have... Do I have the right yellows? Oh, do I have a little piece here? Oh, that's going to be perfect. So that's the lighter yellow, and I'll do a little bit of darker yellow in behind. There's not a whole lot that's going to be showing through. Oh, you know what? Maybe we'll do some slices too. I should be able to fit them both. Let's add that to our accoutrement that will also go with our mice. Oh, and I have this piece too. Now, one thing I'm going to share with you that I learned. I thought I would be super smart when I was doing my practice one. And I thought, well, why don't I just put my cardstock right on top of that top layer of foam and cut it all at once? And then that's one layer of stickiness that I'm not trying to line up. The problem as I discovered after I cut it, I need to have the acetate in between the outline and the foam. So that didn't work out too well, but what I can do is I can use this on another card. Just use it, have a dimensional frame. It just won't be a shaker card. But if that thought crossed your mind, it did mine too, and it doesn't work. So I make mistakes so you can learn. All right, I'm going to take this lemon. I'm going to take the lemon slice, and let's cut those out of the lighter color. You don't need to see me die cut that. I will just do that off to the side here. So let me ask you, what is your favorite summer beverage? Is it lemonade? Is it pink lemonade? Is it sangria or fruit cocktail or maybe a limeade type beverage? Let me know in the comments, because this could work for any kind of beverage. Oh, Cheryl's saying you could make the Kool-Aid guy crashing out of this. Absolutely. I think I mentioned earlier, this sample here is showing that it has a face. The face didn't actually come with this die set, but there are lots of stamp sets. I think there's even a whole stamp set that's called All the Faces that you could add to it. And yes, you could definitely make the Kool-Aid guy. That would be really, really fun. Okay, let's get that up. Let's get that up. Got some little bits here on the plate. And then let's do the darker piece. I'm just going to cut this down a little bit so that I can do the solid lemon and the solid slice. And actually, the slice also has the little segments. So I think I'll cut the slice again so I can get the segments out of that darker piece. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I've not assembled this one yet, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to try. And like I said, they slid as I moved them. Here we go. All right. It's now assembly time. Let's build our scene. So like I said, we've got our picture. We now have lemon pieces that we can glue together. Put that on my magnet. We also have my little tray of mousy friends. And the other thing we have, I'm just trying to remember to put everything away, or I'm going to go looking for them and they will be disappearing. I also have my backgrounds. So ahead of class, I went and created this rainbow cloud background with some grass here as well. These are both using Lawn Fawn stencils and Lawn Fawn ink. And this was a technique that I saw very quickly on social media and then couldn't find it again when I needed it to. But I like the idea of having that rainbow in the background there. I had originally done one that was just all rainbows, but then I thought, oh, the picture's just going to look like he's floating. Maybe Kool-Aid Man is having a dream. I don't know, but I felt like it needed something to ground it. Looks like I'm missing a couple of comments here. Kool-Aid guy. Oh, Josie says that her mom makes a delicious homemade lemonade. I think you're right. I think homemade is always better. So, what else are we going to put on? We're going to need room for a sentiment. This guy is pretty big, so maybe we'll put the sentiment at the top. But I also want to show you a new tool that Charlie has been developing based on suggestions and recommendations from a bunch of you. These are our new alignment guides for layering. And you may have seen other people on social media that have had these. We've been working on this. And what it's going to do is it's going to help us get a nice even border. Now, I think what I want to do is I want to give this a 1/4 inch border around the outside. So these have, we have 4 sizes. We have 1/8, 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4. I'm going to see if I can just pop out the 1/4 one. Or do I have to take them all out? Let's take the little one out first. Take the next one out. There we go. And it does have 1/4 written in the side. What I do need to do though is trim this down to make it work. So the easiest way to do this is I do want a 1/4 inch border around all 4 sides. So I'm just going to start by taking a quarter off all 4 sides. Down to this. All right, now I'm at 3 3/4. And lastly, this one's going to be 5. Like so. And then what you do is you take your MISTI. I think we sized it so it'll fit in the mini. Let's find out. So I'm going to take my background piece, which I have chosen yellow to allow it to pop. I'm going to put my magnet over here. I'm going to take my alignment tool. I'm going to nest it right down into this bottom right hand corner. And then what I can do, actually you don't want the magnet is going to get in the way. You nest this right in here into that corner as well. And when you take it out, presto changeo, you have a perfectly even border around the outside. So let's tuck that back in the corner. Let me get my tape runner. Let's tape this down. And snug it right in, nice and easy. Perfection. Absolute perfection. Now, while I have the MISTI out, the one thing, I've already told you the one thing and the other thing and an additional thing that I learned doing my prototype. With this having 2 layers of foam, it is very difficult for you to stamp your sentiment if you want to use a stamp tool, because this is now too thick. So I'm going to leave it here. This is kind of where he's going to live, but I'm going to get out my sentiment. I think let's do when life gives you lemons, make a lemonade. I'm going to position this where I want it. Nope, not that one. Where is it? When life gives you lemons, that can go up here. Make lemonade, which is right here. Let's offset it over here. And then the fact that these clouds are nice and light, this is going to stamp really well. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Now I can take this away since I know exactly where the positioning is. Let's take this down. Oh, my magnet's in the way. Put the magnet over here. And I think that make lemonade might be a little crooked, but you know what? We're just going to go with it. And you know what would be fun? Let me see if I've got it. Instead, I was going to do black ink, but because we've got the blue on the shaker, let's do a blue sentiment. Here is a blue. Yeah, I think my Lawn Fawn blue is too navy. So let's, oh, I think this is going to be perfect. Okay. Ooh, I love it. I think I'm going to make it just a little bit darker. Nice. So you don't always have to use black for your sentiments. Make sure you consider your colors as well. This guy, like I said, is going to live here. I think I'm actually going to break that border and get that handle as close to the outside edge as I can. And now my glue is clogged. Oh, I don't know where my pins have gone. Oh, there we go. down. Sitting on the grass. I want to do these lemon guys. So let me stick my top layer onto the bottom. And this again is where I can now go to my scraps. Now, this is 2 layers, so if this is going to stick over top, actually, maybe I won't do foam on this one. I'll do it on the next piece. Let's put the lemon right here in the bottom. Where's my lemon slice? I know I cut that extra one for the segments, but I think in the interest of time, I'm just going to do the frame part. And in hindsight, this one would have been great for having liner sheet on it. Just goes inside that segment. So that can go there. Ooh, this is turning out so nice. I'm so happy. Sometimes you have a vision and it all works out. Sometimes you just hope for the best. And then let's dig in here. I do have this cute little mouse carrying some lemons. He'd look really cute over there. But this one is where I'm going to use the scraps. Use my scraps of foam tape. Just cut it down. Oh, it's a little bit too big. He can just sit over here in the grass. And I also had, I've got this little tiny lemon that I colored. I'm going to put that up here by the sentiment. Yes, it's going to look like the lemon's flying a little bit, but I think it also brings attention to our sentiment. So he can just sit here. And I have a little crate. Got these cute little guys that have their little baseball caps on, but I don't think I have room with this big picture here. Do I have room for the crate? No. Do I have room for the sugar? I don't know. Sometimes less is more. Maybe if I had done this as a landscape card, I could have fit more critters in. But now I've got them for another project. So I think I'm gonna call that done. You got your shaky shaky, wakey wakey, and lots of fun. So there you have it. I mean, I know our main focus tonight was the shaker element. We learned some things. We learned some tricks about how to keep that frame integral, the integrity of it. Sorry, we're starting to fail, but keep that from warping. Here is that sample one that I made as my practice. So again, I've used a yellow picture this time. I really wanted that yellow to be strong. And I've used that grassy backdrop, which was also part of this new release. And here's where I've tucked in the little lemon crate. I've got the lemons all, kind of scattered, almost like an Easter egg hunt, but it's lemons. And we've got all our little mouse friends here. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. There we go. So that's it. Thank you for joining me tonight. I encourage you to give shakers a try. It definitely has that surprise and delight functionality when you give a card that you have made so lovingly with these interactive bits. If you are going to mail it, I do recommend a bubble mailer so that you just kind of protect that shaker case. but it's lots of fun. And once you get going, it's like so many things that we do. Once you get going, once you've made the first one, the second one is easy. The third one is easy. The fourth one is even easier after that. So when you sit down to play, plan to do a whole bunch and just set aside the time. Even if you're just making the shaker elements, then you've got them ready for when you go to make a card. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Go get a glass of lemonade or fruit punch or whatever beverage means summertime to you. And if you do make anything that I have shared with you tonight, then please do post in the Papercrafts Inner Circle, because as always, we love to see what you make. It's always fun to see the little twists and turns that you take from what we've taught you to make it your own. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon.